Dave Myers here at the art show at the Miller Haus. We're here at the Work of Heart art show at the Miller Haus. And when you first walk in, one of the first people you run into at the show is Harold Rao. And it's got some great photography going on. And I just wanted to see what Harold thought about the show.
Yeah, it's good. Some good traffic earlier. It's kind of slow right now, but hopefully we'll pick up a little bit more later in the afternoon.
That sounds good. And I like your orchids, just to kind of right in time for Valentine's Day.
Yep, Valentine's Day or Mother's Day or any day. They're orchids. This is a group that I like to sell as a group, and it's from the orchid show a few years ago. Down at the Missouri Botanical Garden.
How long have you been doing photography, Harold?
Hate to say, over 50 years.
Oh my goodness, you're old.
I am old.
Well, yeah, I hope you enjoy it here at the show. Hope it's successful for you. We will be having another one coming up in May.
Yep, sounds good.
So we're here at the start of the Work of Heart art fair here at the Miller Haus. And the first person you see when you come in is Kelly Martin. Kelly, what do you think of the art fair so far?
Well, I think it's going real good.
Yeah.
A lot of people are coming and asking a lot of questions and seem very interested, especially in the style that I perform my work in.
What would you call your style?
Well, it's probably on the order of impressionism, but yet I try to look at realism too, but not to get too literal. It's interesting because most of my work is from other parts of the country, like San Francisco, New Orleans, and Colorado, Utah, different places, Chicago. I really enjoy it. I've been doing this for a number of years. I studied architecture back in the 60s, and so I kind of lean towards urban scenes and architectural scenes, street scenes, that sort of thing.
Well, thank you, Kelly. Appreciate it. Good luck for the rest of the afternoon. She's got a crowd in here in a lounge that hopefully somebody will come by and grab one of your paintings.
All right.
And actually pay for it.
All right. All right.
Take care.
Okay, thanks.
What the heck's your name?
Ruben Carrillo Arts.
What do you got here?
Oh, well, if you can take a look, we go from oil to watercolor to pastel, and my wife and I are artists, and we like to paint.
So what do you think of the art show here?
Oh, phenomenal. It's local, it's growing. You can see the crowds are coming out. So we plan on doing it again in Mother's Day. Did you know that?
Sounds good. I can't wait for Mother's Day. Great. Thanks, Ruben.
You're welcome.
Yeah, here we are in the Images Today and Beyond studio at the Miller Haus. And back in October of last year, Andy Miller made the suggestion that it'd be a good idea if I take a look and make this room a studio. So this is the Images Today and Beyond studio, fine art gallery, and my stuff is presented here today at the Work of Heart art fair at the Miller Haus in Grover, Missouri. Here with Carol Knox here at the Miller Haus Work of Heart art show, and just kind of wanted to get what you're thinking of the art show and how it's going for you.
I think it's a lovely setup. I was very pleased. I didn't have a whole lot of information, so I wasn't sure what to expect, but I think this arrangement is wonderful.
So tell us about what you kind of do. It looks
Well,
like
all my work is glass, and I just I have things that I make on a regular basis because I know that people like them. They're going to have different colors, but like my cheese platters over there. I know that people like to buy cheese platters, so I always have some of those, and kids love the magnets, and that's a great way to use up scrap glass, little bits and pieces. Coasters are very popular too, but then I like to experiment. So those hearts that I made just for this show, I was experimenting with thick glass. It's where you have, instead of having something that's going to come out that depth, you want to have a big chunk, but you have to be very careful because having a big chunk can give you lots of bubbles. So I was pleased that all of them came out just fine on the bubble issue. However, they're very heavy, so they became instant trivets.
Sometimes you don't know quite what you're going to get.
That's true, but there's always something. This is something fun I just started doing this past fall, was these ornaments, and people buy them for their Christmas trees
Right.
or for sun catchers. So I
Oh,
sell a lot of
cool.
them as sun catchers.
Well, I appreciate you coming to the art fair. Hope you come to
My
our next
pleasure.
one coming up in May. So we'll keep you posted.
Okay,
And,
I'm on the list now, right?
Yep, you are. Over here we have Matt.
How you doing?
Hey, what are you, the Matt the what?
The Rebel.
That's him, Matt the Rebel.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been watching your stuff on Facebook.
I know, thank you.
I really like it. It's pretty cool. I got to figure out how to take your stuff and share it to the art fair that we're having so it gets more exposure. Well, got to work on that. But kind of explain a little bit what you do.
Well, most of my painting self-taught. So most of the painting that I do is learned on experimenting. I paint on average 3 to 4 hours a day for the last few years. So some good, some bad, but what I try to do is adapt my own style to what I want to do, and I do it by memories that come up. Be it on music that I'm listening to, which is a big part of how I paint. Maybe sometimes the wine may help. But it brings back things that I haven't thought about in a while, and normally I start with the background, and from there, my mind then works with the paper to create a piece of art. Sometimes good, sometimes I'm not quite sure. But yeah, it's fun to do, and I mix all the media. The only thing I don't mix in my paintings is oil. I tend to paint relatively fast. I like things to dry quickly. So oils don't work well with me, but I use house paint, spray paint, inks, acrylics, watercolors, a little bit of everything.
Cool. So what do you think about the art show?
I think
know
it's just great.
The second one you've come to.
It's the second one I've come to. I live right out in this area, so Andy being an independent, restaurateur, it's nice to support her to come out here. And then she supports the local artists, which is great. And we need to do more of that, I think, in this area. Because there's a lot of great art and there's a lot of great restaurants that when you have people that put their life into it, like she does here, or the paintings, getting people to appreciate it and come out and support it, I think is important.
That sounds good. Well, I hope you're at our next ones coming up in May, and thanks for coming to this one.
You got it. Thank you now.
We're here with Pat McCarty, and he's a blacksmither and a lot of forging that he does, and we're going to have him explain a little bit more for us.
Well, it's kind of like working with clay. Once the metal is hot, it's soft, and I can shape it into any shape that I want just by hammering on it. And I can use mostly iron, but I also like working with copper, brass, aluminum, silver, so just about anything goes.
What's kind of your favorite thing to do? I see you're in the Valentine's Day mode.
Hearts are real popular. They're a real nice thing. I love to do the snakes. The iron comes in long, round bars usually, so it just kind of says snake, and vines work real good too with the metal like that. So a lot of organic forms.
Are you limited to the art side of forging, or do you do other kind of things?
I would say mostly I do practical things. I do a lot of railings, fireplace screens, gates, things like that. But a lot of them involve some of the different techniques that you see in the small decorative pieces. So, and a lot of people will look at my pieces on the table and then say, well, can you do that and make a fireplace screen with that motif? And so that works out real good with all the small pieces like this.
And then, so what do you think of the art fairs? Is this the first time you've been to the Miller Haus for an art fair?
Right, I'm impressed with it. I've had some pretty good sales already, and yeah, it's a nice little venue here, and nice kind of bad day out to be outside, so although it's getting pretty nice out there. But no, this looks like a real nice venue here.
Thank you, Pat. I hope you're coming back to us. Like I say, we're already kind of nailed down May 10th for our next one, and watch for some information coming your way. So we're here with Jeff Wisman, here at the Miller Haus Art Fair. Jeff, explain to us kind of what you do.
Well, I'm an illustrator, and right now the current trend that I'm going through are pet caricatures. And basically what I do is I have people send me pictures of their pets. It can be dog, cat, iguana, guinea pig, whatever you have that you love, and I create a whimsical caricature of it. And what I do is I go out and I buy these deep frames, usually at a thrift store, and then I ask the potential customer what colors they want for their specific pet, and then what I do is I paint a background on the frame, and then I take a paintbrush and throw paint at it and just splatter it. And the reason I do that is because I like the juxtaposition of something that I have no control over, because the paint comes out in an arbitrary shape, and then I do the animal, which is usually either done on acrylic paint or Prismacolor pencils, and that I have all control. So the two mesh together, I think, very well.
Well, thank you very much for coming. Hope to keep seeing you.
Same.
Put
thank
down
you.
that May date.
I'll be there.
Oh, here's my good friend Janice Frizella. And Janice is a veteran, as you might say, here at the Miller Haus, and her stuff is what?
Eclectic Creations by the Painted Chick.
There we go. So it's hard for you to pick out one thing to say what you do. What do you do, Janice? What's your favorite? What do you like?
I like doing anything that has texture or color in it, anything that you can touch, anything you can feel, anything that really evokes an emotion. If you look at some of these, this is one of my latest pieces. I invite people, most people come up to an art show and they keep their hands in their pockets because they're afraid to touch things. But I want people to sit there and touch my canvases or my pieces. You know, everything I do has multiple layers and multiple colors and textures. So I want you to get up close and personal with everything. Very similar to this. This is Paladine. This is my steampunk unicorn. But taking a simple object and layering with colors and textures and bits and pieces to make them all new things. Most everything I do is repurposed. Canvases, of course, are unique unto themselves, but everything else is I take something that people have thrown out or rejected and made them very pretty.
So just give us a little bit of your thoughts on the work of Art Fair and where the Miller Haus is going with art.
The Miller Haus has been awesome in supporting local artists in the area, and the work of heArt Art Fair for this February has been awesome. We've had a lot of people come in, not only to see our artwork, but to support Ande with her lounge and coffee house. And it's been a wonderful place. People have come in and gotten to know the artists, you know, up close and personal. I've been talking to people that have stopped by all day long and really have gotten to know them and what they're wanting and what they're seeing in the area.
We're here with Nancy Orton, a good friend of mine. I've known her for a while. We were even in class together at the Manny Rodriguez's class. And Nancy does jewelry.
I do.
And, where'd you come across with your love of jewelry? And tell us a little bit about it and the why that you do jewelry.
Actually, it started a long time ago when I went to visit my sister in Arizona. And she told me all the spiritual meanings about the stones. Then I got away from it. I had children and ran a different business. And then I did fine jewelry. Sold fine jewelry, and the love for all the gemstones started coming back. So I started playing around with gemstones again and fell back in love, and I find it very calming and peaceful to work on my jewelry. And there's just something when people look at it, probably like when you do your photography and people love it, it gives you such a wonderful feeling inside. Does you know what I'm talking about?
Well, it's like when you take it and somebody shows appreciation.
Yeah,
for it.
so you're putting all your work into it. Then when you put it on display and people tell you how wonderful it looks, they don't even have to purchase anything. It just gives you the wonderful feeling inside.
Oh, I hope you get a little bit of money now.
Well, sometimes.
Speaking of that, I mean, you've been to the Miller Haus a number of times.
Absolutely.
How do you think we're doing so far with the art fair?
I really like the diversity this time. I think we have a good, diversified group. I like everyone lots of compliments that are coming through the customers. The crowds are really picking up. Sales have been really nice. So I think that this is going to grow, and I think it's going to be a pretty big staple for the Miller Haus.
Well, we appreciate you coming. Look forward to hearing from you, and I'll see you in class.
Oh, I'll be there.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dave.
Cut.